everybody, it's Alexa, and I want to welcome you to my remodeled and reorganized and decluttered home office. It's been a few years, I want to say 4, but I'm not certain, since I first did the KonMari process, which, if you've watched my other videos, you'll see took about 6 months to a year, or really longer if you consider then my subsequent basement remodel. But it truly was life-changing and changed a lot of how I perceive myself, how my house and home office and businesses are organized. It resulted in better finances and a lot of success in my life. So I wholeheartedly recommend it. But having done that huge process, time goes by, your needs change, and you accumulate new things, and it was time to remodel the home office again. And part of the reason why we were doing this was because of these doors right here, which were very rotted, and you couldn't see it from the inside, but we put them in ourselves a number of years ago, over a decade ago, and they just rotted out. They're south facing, and they got water damage and probably weren't made out of the best materials. And I wanted to replace them, and I finally saved up the money and bought a set of doors that are a single light. So they no longer are these multi-light doors. Like most of the French doors in my house have multiple lights, and I read a book, which is also on one of my videos, I review it. Here's this book that gave me the idea to replace the glass French doors that I had in this office with doors with a single light, because he points out it's so much easier to clean them than doors that have a lot of decorative millwork that you have to individually dust and clean off. And I personally really like clean glass. It is one of those ways you could quickly make your house look amazing, is just to have clean windows. Literally, we couldn't go in and out of these doors for I think 2 years, which was fine. I was enjoying having no traffic through my office. You will see from the footage after I finish this introduction, you'll see it was a huge process to change the doors, and that inspired me to declutter this room. And one thing you'll notice too is that I got rid of yet another big piece of furniture. Now, when I had done the previous remodel, I had built myself a stand-up desk, which was behind me, out of a shelf. Well, as time went by, I found this beautiful glass desk, which I'm sitting at right now, on the street, and decided to use that. And then, like I said, it was just time to create a new workflow. And I was always having trouble whenever I record things. It's always a weird Rube Goldberg type of situation where I'm connecting cables and this and that. And I still need more electricity in this room. That would be great. But I want to share with you, before we get into the video, and you'll just sort of see some time lapse of what I did. It was actually a huge undertaking, but you'll see the result. I absolutely love the result. But let me just share with you 4 KonMari principles that I followed. Decluttering, does it spark joy? And, there were plenty of mementos and things that I've gotten from travels and conferences and things like that. Then, they'd serve their purpose. And actually, Marie Kondo has a whole thing about conference materials. That's always a good one, right? Because she says, you have to absorb the knowledge. And if you didn't absorb the knowledge, the binders or folders of conference materials are not generally going to give you that knowledge. So that was something that I let go of. I had a lot of extra office supplies that had stuck around since the last time I remodeled or decluttered. So obviously I wasn't using them. So I gave most of those away. I put them in a box in front of my house, marked free office supplies, and trust me, they disappeared very quickly. The second principle that I describe in another one of my videos is workflow, and she focuses a ton on that, and especially in her second book in English, describes her process of going to professional kitchens and seeing how the workflow is set up. And I also have a glass desk behind me, which is yet another glass desk that I found on the street, which I was sort of debating, should I keep it? But you know what? Since I put it over there, I love it. It's kind of like a charging station, but sometimes I sit there and work there too. And if I need to, I can wheel it over to where I'm sitting right now and create a U-shaped workspace. But like I said, right now I have my piano and my desk, which you can't really see. But I also used a fun principle, storing things in product boxes. So I have some iPhone boxes behind me, which I'm using. All of I'm trying to point to this thing, all of the reorganization of this IKEA piece of furniture really, I ended up not buying anything new. I had dollar store bins and such, but I am really happy with how I reorganize things. Here's an example of product boxes that I ended up using as storage. These boxes held a pen, or each held a different pen that I had bought for myself and my son for Christmas, and they're fountain pens, and they had a little foam in there. Well, I took the foam out, and there's plenty of room in there. They're nice little hinged plastic boxes, and then I put some pens and some ink in it, or some styluses and some ink, and then this one I have a recorder in there, a digital recorder, and then I store them over where some other office supplies are. The final KonMari principle that I did here is that I actually removed almost all of the books from here. I had a lot of books in here, and you'll see a moment in the video where I go briefly into the bedroom to show you how many books there are just all over the house. So what I did is I put all the books into the living room, and that's sort of the principle of like items together. And I decluttered a lot of the books and took some to Goodwill and to various libraries to give them away. But I am overdue to reorganize those books. So anyway, I know I always get inspired when I see this kind of video, and I hope you will be inspired to rethink your office space and find the ideal flow for you. Let's get started.